Message in a bourbon bottle.
Welcome back to another Message in a Bourbon Bottle, and we're going to get right into it with today's message.
I hope that we get your message in a bourbon bottle. Yeah.
All right, this is in a 4-gate bottle. Today's message in a bourbon bottle is, hey guys, I occasionally hear some bourbon drinkers saying that NDP brands don't make, quote, real, unquote, bourbon, and therefore they will never get their money. I guess I can say that a little bit better. People saying that NDPs don't make real bourbon, therefore those people who say that will never buy the bourbon. Yeah, sorry. What's your opinion on this? Do you think NDPs make fake bourbon? And that is from Matt G, who wrote us on, email. And you can email us too with your questions. It's bourbonnight@gmail.com. Just please put in the description, message in a bourbon bottle. Thanks, Matt. I was wondering when this topic would get broached. Yeah, it's a juicy one. Definitely have opinions on this. And to start out, he said NDPs, that is a non-distilling producer, meaning it's a company who, the reason why it was a 4-gate bottle, right? 4-gate, amazing company, but they do not have their own distillery, so they are a non-distilling producer. To the question, do you think NDPs make fake bourbon? Short answer is no. I don't think they make fake bourbon. Now, if that's all you want to hear, end of episode. But there's a lot more to get into about this, so stick around. I think to boil it down to the most simplest of arguments of the people who say that NDPs don't make their own bourbon. Well, of course, they actually don't actually make their own bourbon, but that NDPs aren't real bourbon. The most simplest form of that is, why would I pay their price for that bottle when I could just get it straight from the source and it's more than likely going to be less expensive? I mean, why do I need to buy things twice? And that's a good point. And I think to better explain this topic, I'm going to make basically a chart of my personal interest in buying. Okay? So a 0 will be no interest in buying that product, and a 10 would be the highest interest of buying that product. And we're going to go through these steps of what a non-distilling producer can do that would make me interested in buying their product. And I think it kind of will help illustrate my point of why, if you don't have your own distillery, but you're using someone else to make your bourbon, it's still your bourbon, okay? So for the purposes of this example, I made my own fake brand. And here it is right here. It's Old Stone Fence, because we've got a lot of old stone fences here in Kentucky, so I thought that would actually be a pretty cool name for a bourbon brand. It's a Kentucky straight bourbon, so they're sourcing from Kentucky at least. And it's Grandpappy's favorite. Huh, good job, Grandpappy. If only he were a colonel. Let's call him Colonel Grandpappy. And just now noticing that I made this green, which is a rye color. Let's go ahead and change it up. Boom, there we go. Old Stone Fence is an NDP, a non-distilling producer. And this is just for argument's sake, because this is fake brand. They source their stuff from Green River. We all know Green River, right? Great stuff. We could also have said Barstow Bourbon Company, or Potter Jane, who's just getting started, or Whiskey House, or MGP, Ross and Squibb, or Jim Beam, Buffalo Trace, Wild Turkey, Four Roses, anyone who makes stuff, although there are distilleries who are more known for making and selling whiskey to non-distilling producers, like Green River, who has their own label, but also does sell and will contract distill for you if and you like. So on a scale of most interested to least interested to most interested, if Old Stone Fence is 5-year, 90 proof, and it costs $30 more than this around 5-year. This is not age stated, but it's at least 4 years, 90 proof. This is $30. So say the Old Stone Fence was 60, and it was a 90 proof 5-year that I knew was sourced from Green River. That's a big zero. That's a goose egg. That's a bagel. I have no interest in this. Would it taste exactly like Green River? No, not exactly, because you got to think whoever's sourcing these barrels, they're going off of their palate, right? And they're combining things in a ratio to taste that they most prefer. Is it going to taste similar? Yeah, probably. Probably very similar. Now, what could Old Stone Fence do to push it up a notch in my book? Well, to move it up to a 0.5, we could say that they source from Green River, but then they age it elsewhere. So maybe they get barrels of new make from Green River 5 years ago, and they've stored it in a warehouse somewhere else. It could still be somewhere in Kentucky even, but the fact that it is on a different campus means different maturation. You know, you've ever been on a barrel pick or heard people talk about barrel picks? Like, oh, I love the Tyrone campus of Wild Turkey, or, you know, I like this warehouse. This warehouse is the best. You know, that's because even on the same campus, different warehouses get different airflow. There's different aging, different maturation. So the fact that this Green River was hypothetically stored somewhere else for 5 years. All right, that kick it up to a 0.5 interest, but still, if it's $60 versus 30, yeah, it's not really moving the needle for me. So what could they do to at least get it up to a 1 of interest in my book? And that would be if, I keep forgetting the name of this stupid brand, Old Stone Fence. If Old Stone Fence was presented at a proof that Green River doesn't put out. So, like, let's switch out this Green River for Green River Full Proof, which is 117.3, which is the highest Green River that you can get. Now, this is also between 5 and 7 years, right? So now this is a little bit older. So Old Stone Fence would have to give me something 120 plus in proof. So basically, although there are a lot of NDPs that source from Green River, but let's just take them out of the equation for now. The only way that you could get over 120 proof, 5 to 7 year, let's also say they moved up their sourcing ages on the barrels, is to get an Old Stone Fence. Then I'm more interested. I'm up to a 1 at least. Now, how are you going to move it up even further? For me, it would be to put out a higher proof and a longer age product than Green River themselves put out. So let's say Old Stone Fence is 121.2 proof, and it's a combination of barrels 8, 9, and 10 years old. I don't even know if there's 10-year-old Green River barrels out there, but this is all hypothetical, so it doesn't matter. Then I'm up to a 5. I'm up to a 5 here, you know, in interest, and even higher depending on the price point, because 5 to 7 year 117.3 proof Green River is like $40. Wow, what a deal. $40. But let's not let price, because price is subjective. Everyone has their own particular price point that they won't go over or like to stick around. So that's kind of, price is always going to be a factor, but let's kind of get price out of here for now. I'm sorry, I'm concentrating too much on that. But if it's higher proof than what the actual distillery offers and older age than the distillery offers, then yeah, I want to try that, especially because, again, as I said earlier, you're going to have someone else or someone else's palates who are combining these barrels, and I would want to try it to see if their palate's close to mine. Then yeah, I'm on board. Now, what would be another way that they could do it? I'm also going to give this a 5 as far as interest, is if they double barrel it, you know, toasted barrel or any other type of finish, wine finish, rum, you know, there's tequila barrel finishing's kind of getting popular right now, anything like that. Now the age, if it's also up there in age, cool, and proof, cool, but I think the secondary aging in another barrel is, you know, we could come down in proof, we could come down in age, and I'm still going to be at that 5 as far as interest. Now, this keeps going up all the way to a 10. We do get to a 10, but since we just talked about a 5, I want to pause yeah, we're going to do plugs. But before we do that, I want to talk about this whole thing of, well, if Old Stone Fence didn't make this bourbon, some other master distiller made it. So it's that distillery's bourbon or that master distiller's bourbon, not theirs. All right, I can see your point. But question for you. Have you ever eaten at a restaurant like a Gordon Ramsay restaurant or Wolfgang Puck or Bobby Flay or Guy Fieri? Ever eaten at any of those? There are lots of them, right? Now, if I go to a Gordon Ramsay restaurant and I eat a steak, I feel like I can say with all confidence, I've had a Gordon Ramsay steak. Now, did Gordon Ramsay make my steak? No. Did Gordon Ramsay come up with the recipe? Yeah. He taught his staff, his head chefs, to, how he likes a steak cooked. And then that head chef oversaw the cooks or the other chefs who are making the steak. So are you going to say that any restaurant that doesn't actually have Gordon Ramsay in it cooking the meals, you're not really at Gordon Ramsay's place? And think of it this way. If you're so concerned about the still that it was made on, well, they could have told them the mash bill. They could have brought their own yeast, but it was Green River Still who made it. And it's always going to taste like Green River stuff. Well, okay, Gordon Ramsay, when he was figuring out how he liked his steak, he's probably cooking at home, not at a restaurant. Or whatever, I don't know, does he make a lasagna? Let's say I'm trying to think of something that has more ingredients than a steak. Let's just say lasagna, I don't know. When he's making that lasagna, he's at home. He's using his home kitchen, his home oven and grill at stovetop. Then it goes to a restaurant kitchen and is made there. Another way to kind of think of this is, what if Gordon Ramsay came over to your house or any of these other people? I just keep going with Gordon. I like Gordon. And he made you his lasagna at your house using your oven. And you went to your grocery to get ingredients where, he normally gets it from his favorite. Did you have Gordon Ramsay's lasagna? I would say you did, even though it wasn't using his equipment or his ingredients that he normally gets. He had to do some substitutions because this grocery didn't carry his favorite mozzarella or whatever. That's how I think about NDPs and this whole, is it real? Are you kind of getting the analogy here? Hopefully I explained it well. But all right, let's take a break here because I want to tell you about our home on the internet. It's whiskyambitions.com. It's where you can get the t-shirt and hat. I should definitely have a bourbon here because this one we're getting into it. But all of our glassware, we actually just did a new reorder on shirts. So if there's a size that you've been checking back in to see if it's back in stock, it's very likely back in stock. So check all that out and more at whiskyambitions.com. Also, one of the best ways to support this channel, if you just think we're doing a good job and want to see more content like this and everything else that we offer, it is patreon.com/itsbourbonnight. That's where for as little as $1 all the way up to the Bourbon Night tier, you can help support us, and in return, you get another round of Chat Squared. You get access, sometimes very exclusive access, and only access to our barrel picks. You can actually go on a barrel pick with us, and much, much more. You actually get priority for message in a bourbon bottle as well, since we're on that show right now. That is at patreon.com/itsbourbonnight. We're going to take a little break. I'm going to get a drink, and we'll be right back after this. And we're back. Thanks for sticking around. All right, so last we left off, we were at a 5. Next one, jumping up, is actually to an 8, because I think this is the most of, hey, can I use your kitchen? I've got my own recipe, and I'm bringing some of my own ingredients, and that is contract distilling. So some NDPs, let's go back to Old Stone Fence. Old Stone Fence, let's say, went to Green River and they said, I really don't care. We just want some bourbon to put in our bottle and call it our own. And they'll say, all right, well, how about the regular old Green River mash bill, which is 70 corn, 21% rye, if we're talking about the rye bourbon. They also have a wheated bourbon, and 9% malted barley. How about that? Cool? Yeah, cool. I don't care. I just want my own label. Again, that's where most people think like all NDPs are thinking like that. But not true. Contract distilling is you go to Green River and you say, hey, I want this mash bill. It's 80% corn and careful, Chad, you're going to have to do math here on the spot. It's 15% rye and it's 5% malted barley. That equals 100%, right? Okay, we'll do that for you. Oh, and we worked with Firm Solutions, and they helped us develop our own yeast strain. So not only do we have our, mash bill that's ours, we've got our own yeast strain. So here you go. We need to use your kitchen. We need to use your oven, your fridge, your whatever. There's other things in kitchens. I don't know, your dishwasher. I said, okay, cool. And what about barrel entry proof? Yeah, we've got our own barrel entry proof. We wanted to come off the still at 145 instead of the max 160. We wanted to go into the barrel at 112 instead of the max 125. And let's look at your warehouses. Where can we put it? Let's put it in that warehouse where we'll come back in 8 years, and that'll be Old Stone Fence. Now, that's just, I mean, they might as well have spent the millions of dollars to have their own still and doubler and mash tun and all that stuff. But they didn't need to, because they've got these distilleries out there who are offering, hey, come to us. We've got our stuff. We're not using it to make just Green River all the time. We'll help you out. Then I'm at an 8. I'm at an 8 for that. Another way that it would be an 8 is if you source or contract distill, either or, from 2 or more distilleries and then combine it together. Because when you're blending things, whether it's from one distillery or several, you want the sum to be greater than the parts. I know we've said that a million times, but I mean, it's true. So you're sourcing from Green River, you're sourcing from Wild Turkey, you're sourcing from some other place not in Kentucky. You're doing like Pursuit Spirits does. New York, Kentucky, and Tennessee distilling partner. 3 different states combined together in the way that they see fit by taste to make a product that no one else can get unless they do the exact same, source things. But so that tastes different than any other distillery because of the blending. And I really do believe that blending is an art, because I've seen it firsthand that it is. Yeah, 2 or 3 places that you're making something that I don't care if you own 3 different distilleries and then you're combining them. That isn't going to make it taste any different. If you own those distilleries and you made it yourself and then combine it together, or if you had 3 other distilleries do it, bought from them, and combine them, that doesn't matter to me at all. Now, the 10. How do we get to a 10? Well, that's really personal preference for me. So this one's going to be just all personal Chad preference. Old Stone Fence is now around 10-year product or more, 10 to 12. It's above 100 proof. Maybe it's cask strength. I would say it has a lower barrel entry proof. So maybe its cask strength is, around that 115, 120 proof, around there. It's contract distilled, meaning it's their own proprietary mash bill, maybe their own yeast strain as well, or it's sourced from more than one distillery and blended by someone whose palate I know from experience that I like. That to me would be a 10. You could also, double barrel it, toasted barrel it. For personal preference, I'm probably not looking at a finish. I want it to stay a bourbon whiskey. And the price point, of course, is reasonable. There we go, back to price point. Then I would be all over Old Stone Fence. I'd want to try it if all those things happened. So hopefully that all made sense. Hopefully I didn't leave anything out. I made notes beforehand because I knew that this was going to be a longer one. But I do want to know down in the comments how you guys think. Is anyone still feeling like, no, it's not real and this is why? That's your opinion, and I would love to hear it. And maybe Chad and I can discuss it on a podcast or something like that. But that's where we better leave it. Hey, if you haven't subscribed to this already, you can do so by clicking. I'm going to put it over here. By clicking right up here. There are suggestions of other videos down here, and we hope to see you over there in one of those. And until next time, drink more bourbon.
That we get your message in a bourbon bottle. Yeah.